Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode from the Multi-Tools and Blades channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for your chance to win this brand new Leatherman free P4. I will be giving away this Leatherman to one lucky subscriber when I hit 1,000 subscribers. We've just hit 500, so yay, halfway there. No more mucking about, let's get straight into this review. Today we're going to have a look at the Kershaw A100C, which is a vice grip style plier, and the Leatherman Crunch. So both of these multi-tools can lock in place, which is great for welding or other things where you need the multi-tool to hold onto it without you holding onto it. I just saw another video on YouTube yesterday actually that said that Leatherman this year has just discontinued the Leatherman Crunch. It's been in production since 1998, so it's had quite a long run, so there should be plenty of them out there if you wanted to get your hands on one. Whereas the Kershaw A100C, that was discontinued shortly after production, so they were only in production from about late 1990s to early 2000s, so if you really wanted to get one, it's going to be a bit harder. But you're probably going to want the Crunch anyway after seeing this review. So anyway, let's look at these side by side then. So the first thing you would have noticed in the intro to this was that the Leatherman actually folds up. That is that the plier heads fold into the handles like a normal multi-tool would. That's not the case with the Kershaw. You can see here that the plier heads stick right out the front, and that's exactly where they are and that's where they're going to stay. So it's more like a traditional vice grip with multiple tools in the handles. Now the fit and finish on both of these tools is absolutely perfect. There's no problems with them at all. You can't complain about any part of the quality of either one of these tools. They both work as intended and they both do a very good job of that. I've always grown up with vice grips that have got longer ply noses, so I'm more used to that. So when I had the Kershaw A100, it felt like a normal vice grip that I've used for many years welding in the garage. So here's an interesting fact for you. The Kershaw A100 is the very first multi-tool that has an outside opening, one-handed opening, locking blade. This came out about 1 year before the Leatherman Wave did, which had the same, and probably a better design, but same outside opening, locking, one-handed blade. Now because the plier heads don't fold inside, all of the tools you'll see inside are quite long. They go almost the full length of the handle, which is good, but it'd be nice if the tools themselves were a little bit better. The file isn't very nice, the metal saw isn't great. I mean, the whole premise of the multi-tool is that, you know, it's better than having nothing. So, you know, if you've got it in your pocket and you're out in the field, okay, yeah, it would work. But I don't see myself using this out in the field. I'd be more inclined that I'd have it on me and just use it in the garage, where I'm never more than a few feet away from a hacksaw or a file or a screwdriver or a bottle opener for that matter. And I could just use a normal tool with this. I don't see myself carrying such a large vice grip on a daily basis. You can see the tension spring here, so none of the inside tools actually lock. They're just like a PST or a super tool, or an original super tool. It's just a tension spring, so nothing locks with the exception of that outside opening main blade. This here is a release pin, so if you're familiar with vice grips, once something's locked into place, if it's locked in the sense that it's very hard to open, you just push on that little bar there and it just pops it back open for you, nice and easy. I mentioned earlier that I like the pointed head plier heads on the vice grips. That's because they're really good for holding really tiny parts in place. The A100 does a really good job of this. Overall, this is a really good solid multi-tool for what it is for a vice grip as well. The only thing that's really letting it down is the size, and I'll just put a 91mm Victorinox here just so you can see that how big that is compared to a 91mm. It's almost double the length. It is just an enormous multi-tool. Okay, so now we have the Leatherman Crunch, and you're going to see why this is the second longest running Leatherman multi-tool that they've ever made. It is just an absolute marvel. Every time I open this thing, I just look at the engineering of this and just think, what a masterpiece. So in its compact form, it's only as long as a normal multi-tool, so it's only 4 inches long. Unlike the Kershaw, all of the tools on the inside actually have a back lock, so everything locks in place nice and tight. The tools are a little bit more stubby than the Kershaw, but as a backup tool, when nothing else will do, they work perfectly fine. Serrated blade, perfect. 2 flat blade screwdrivers and a Phillips. I like how they've combined the file and the metal saw into one, whereas on the Kershaw you had 2 separate. The Leatherman Crunch came out in late of 1999, so if you want to see how old yours is, just have a look right here. You can see that date stamp in there. Not too long ago I reviewed a tool called the Cutmaster Multimaster, and the Crunch and the Multimaster have a very similar feature here. And when you take the screw out all the way out to the end, you'll find that the hole that this screws into is actually a 1/4 inch bit hex drive. It's quite impractical to use as that, having to unscrew it all the way every time, but it's obvious here that it's just an emergency if you need one. Kind of just like a last resort kind of thing. It takes a long time to screw out and a long time to screw back in, and you also run a risk of losing it. It plays a really crucial part of the vice grips, adjusting the vice grip head to the proper tension. It's certainly not something that you want to lose in the field or even in a workshop. Okay, so let's have a look at this mechanism, how this works differently to all the others. So you can see that the arm pivots down, and we take out the ply head, and then we have to bring the second hand up, so bring that spring down, and let's move that up, and it just clips in, clip, and now the plier head works. So you can see here I've got the screw all the way in, so it doesn't want to close at all, and now I adjust it out and it should just close right where you want it, and you can just fine adjust it to close and lock in position where you want it to. And that's the whole idea of the vice grips as opposed to old style pliers. They're just a really great little tool for locking in place where you want them to. So in summary, I think the Leatherman Crunch is probably the better tool to have as an everyday carry. It just folds up a lot smaller, it's just as good, the tools all lock on it. It's just probably a little bit better, and it's probably the reason why it's just lasted so many more years in production. Well, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching another episode all the way till the end. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave a comment down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Thanks, catch you next time.